Hey, welcome to Drag and Drive News, your source for news and entertainment in the Drag and Drive community. On this episode, we're going to go over Sick Week updates. We're going to talk about Miles of Mayhem. And actually, at the end of the episode, I have an interview that I did with David Sidden, the 49 Plymouth Gasser, who also tells some great stories of the road trip with him and his son, and a ton of cool pictures from that too. And something special, I have a few of these decals made up. I'll post a picture here so you guys can see it. I'll have those at Race Week with us. Those will be $5. Guys, let's get them all over these drag and drive cars. Once I get back, I'll get those stickers up on the website so you guys can purchase them. Speaking of purchasing merch and swag, we have free shipping all the way through the end of September. So if you don't have your Drag and Drive Addiction apparel yet, make sure you jump in there. We also have metal license plates and decals. And if you're mad about the college loan forgiveness, there are a lot of ways to take out your anger. Go out to your garage, pick up that 9/16 wrench and just fling that thing. But once it's done bouncing around and putting dings and dents in the car, pick it up and get to work. Work on your car to help relieve some of that stress and anger you have built up, because obviously you've got to get that car to do burnouts, because if you can do burnouts in your car, you don't care about any college loan relief, forgiveness, whatever they call it. All right, last bit of intro, and then we'll jump right into the news. Congratulations to Riding with Alex Taylor on YouTube. She has crossed 100,000 subscribers. She did that on Wednesday of this week. So congratulations, Alex. We look forward to seeing you at Race Week and then also at Drag Week. One last thing before we get started, guys, please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe if you haven't done that yet. Tom Bailey discussed on a live stream on Facebook earlier this week from Sick the Mag about the fastest 100 passes. I have all year been incorrect on that. It is actually the fastest 100 passes that will get the early entry into Sick Week 2023. I was under the assumption, and have said it many times, that it is the fastest 100 average for the week. So apologize about that. Sorry, he will have a list that's available. I think he said later this week or next week when they open up registration, which is hopefully early part of September. We all know that Drag and Drive is exploding. It is an insane growth that we are seeing. There are now 12 events across the country, and I would expect to see more than 15 or 18 for 2023. I wanted to go over a few numbers to kind of give you guys an idea of the magnitude of what our small niche portion of the drag racing community actually brings to the table. For 2022, there has been at least $834,000 paid in entry fees for Drag and Drive entrants. Now, that is just at the capacity of what the event is. That's not someone paying and then not showing up and then someone else taking their spot and paying again. So that's pretty awesome to see that. Will 2023 will we cross $1 million worth of entry fees paid for Drag and Drive events across the country? It's pretty exciting. The major events have cover $687,000 of that, at least $687,000, and then regional events cover $147,000 of that number. So it's exciting, guys. We are really on the move, and I think once large companies start seeing these types of income to these events, we'll see more and more events, and we'll see the events that we are used to elevate. You know, as things become, as competition comes into the market, it allows for more ideas, new, fresh ideas, things like that. There's a Sick Week update that we're going to talk about here in just a little bit that is in direct relation to Rocky Mountain Race Week teams. So it's going to be really, this 2023 is going to be an insane year. 2022 has been an insane year, and we still have 6 events left. For list updates this week, the 8th mile list had a huge swing in it. 22 Miles of Mayhem racers are now in the top 50 8th mile racer list for 2022. So exciting. That list is so fast. And again, this is their average of the week. So you have to finish, you have to make the trip, and you have to have your fast passes every day. We have 5 of the fastest newcomers, obviously being 22. I'm not going to read everybody. The 5 fastest newcomers are Colin G as the overall winner of the event with a 5.7301. Tony Bueckert in his 53 Bel-Air with a 5.7750. Matt Blasco at number 13. Oh, sorry, Tony is at number 8. Number 13 is Matt Blasco with his Dodge Dart with a 5.9886. Coolest part about Matt's time, he set the fastest time of the week, first car to be in the 4-second range, but he started the week, first car to be in the 4-second range in an 8th mile event in Canada. There's a whole bunch of asterisk out there. Anyways, but his first pass of the week they turned in was a 7.2. So if he had been in the 5s early in the week, he would have definitely dominated the event and probably been the fastest on the 8th mile list, just to kind of give you an idea of how much can change there. Number 14 is Darren Kornelson in his Squarebody C10, 5.9981. And number 15 is Mr. Layne Ollenberg in a Ford Ranger, 6.0135. So congratulations to the fastest 5. Again, 22 total miles of Mayhem racers on the top 50 list for 2022 8th mile racers. The new gatekeeper is Wesley Owens at number 50 in a 2013 Camaro at Carolina Drag Cruise with a 6.9795. So if we see some 8th mile rowdy radial racers beat those times, we have that event coming up with race week. So it's exciting to see that. And then obviously we have 5 more 8th mile races after this. And we're going to talk about some other 8th mile stuff coming up for 2023 as well. Moving into event updates, guys, got to start out with our day count. We are 8 days away from race week. I'm so pumped about this event. It's going to be a ton of fun. This will be our 3rd event, our 3rd race week event to attend. So it's going to be really exciting to see all of our friends and hang out. Again, 8 days. Now, the question I have for you is, should I create or should I separate the Rocky Mountain Race Week event and the race week lists? Should I create 2 separate lists, because now we have 3 years of race week data? Hot Rod Drag Week is September 18th through the 23rd. That's 22 days from now. 400 cars entered, 800 cars on the wait list for that one. One Guy's Garage has 50 cars entered, 27 days for that one. Carolina Drag Cruise, the fall event, is in 40 days. It's October 6th through 10th. Southeast Street and Yeet is the next one, 75 days. That's November 10th through 13th. Then we have King of the Open Road, the fall event for Cruising Oklahoma. Coder is what we're going to call it from here on out. So November 11th through 13th, so it's 76 days from now. And then Sick Week, February 13th through 17th, 170 days. I know that sounds like a long time, but it's really not. 170 days. So I'm freaking pumped. One thing that is really cool about the remaining part of the year is we have 1,064 cars still to race before the end of the year. Now for some specific event updates. Race week, the RMRWers page Facebook group. If you have not joined that yet and you are interested in attending that event, please do that. There are more than 9,000 members in that group. It's a ton of knowledge in that. So a lot of times if you have a question, you can jump in there and search, and there's always a good conversation going on. If you haven't heard me say it, I'm going to say it again. Hot Rod Drag Week 2022 is going to be the end-all, be-all event. There are 8 6-second capable cars coming to Hot Rod Drag Week 2022. Obviously, Tom Bailey is coming. He has the car. Seems like it's running great on all of the testing he has done. The Schroeder Ends Corvette is coming. Stefan Gustafsson has been testing quite a bit. Magnus Frost tested with him a few days ago. Alex Taylor's coming. You know, she's ran some 690s. Michael Borgren, I think, is planning to come. He hasn't quite given me the 100%, but I think he's planning to come. He's number 3 on our fastest 100 list of 2022. You got Cleater McSkeeter. He's coming in the mullet. And then Michael Westberg is coming in the S10. So you have Magnus Frost, Stefan Gustafsson, and Michael Westberg, all 3 from over the pond coming over to – they're planning on doing big-time stuff here in the States. Magnus has been 640s in the Ascana 1.0. So I can only imagine what 2.0 is, because once you build a second car, you know it's going to be faster. We know Bailey's been 5s. We know the Schroeder Ends car is capable. Anytime they turn the 4th kit on, they have struggles. So they have been testing lots and lots of testing with those guys. Stefan has made a few upgrades. Has a tune now for any kind of prep. And Alex Taylor, she's just getting faster. Her and Dennis have been working on the Plymouth Savoy with Hot Rod Garage. They are back home now, from what I understand, and seeing her social media feeds. They are working on the 55 to get it ready. So it's going to be exciting. Going to be a insane week. In the history of major drag and drive events, national level drag and drive events, we've only had one other year where we had 3 6-second finishers throughout the year, and we already have 3 6-second finishers for 2022 with the 6 week finish of Stefan Gustafson, Rick Prospero, and Michael Borgen. So it's going to be exciting to see what happens. Can we actually, we'll break records for sure. Not all of these guys are going to break, but can they all run a 6 and consistently throughout the week? So we're going to see. It's going to be exciting. I look forward to bringing you guys as much content as I can. Sick Week for 2023 has added a rowdy radio class, kind of like I talked about earlier. They're following the Rocky Mountain Race Week format, so it's a 235 tire, 8th mile racing. I think that is going to open them up a lot of different cars that we've never seen at Sick Week, and probably have never seen at an event yet. Mainly because there's a lot of 8th mile racing that goes on in the Carolinas and the eastern part of the country that we never talk about, because, drag week and everything is always a 1/4 mile race. Midwest Drags is always a 1/4 mile race. So it'll be exciting to see some of these 8th mile cars come out and really beat it up. The Sick Week has added a Super Street class. So that is a 275 radial car that actually goes faster than 850, which is where they capped the radio cars for 2022. They have also added a virtual tech for 2023 to help speed up registration and tech at the gate. So hopefully we can save some of those hours that we waste, or we didn't waste them, obviously, but save some of those hours that we had in line there. Total Venue Concepts with Kurt Johnson is handling all of the track prep for Sick Week, and Tom says it will be the best prep of any drag and drive event ever. And lastly, for Sick Week 2023, gear vendors and Motion Raceworks have already signed up to be sponsors for the event. Now for everyone's favorite segment, the Built for Drag and Drive, brought to you by our friends at Sweet Patina. Find all of your car care products and apparel at sweetpatina.com. All right, we have an update finally from Red Hat Scotty with what they are calling the Rickety Nightmare. The car has finally started. He posted a video the other day. This car is Plan B while the Rickety Rocket gets its cage so he can go deep into the 9s. He has struggled with 10 O's for a while. He said he was ready to turn the Rickety Rocket up. And so this car is just a Plan B built from parts that they had laying around. So he purchased the Rickety Nightmare a few years ago as basically a future build and parts car. When the Rocket wasn't going to be done in time for race week, they pulled this car out, threw a spare 5.3 in it that had been in the corner for like 2.5 years or something like that. Turbo 400, put an 8.8 in it from another car. And this car is NA for now, but the guys are bringing a nitrous setup with them with the goal of running 13s, maybe some 12s by the end of the weekend. This car is just a simple budget build, and you can find, I'm sure, the full video series will be coming up later on Questionable Performance Solutions on YouTube. And now for an update from a guy we haven't heard from in a few weeks, Brady Bluma with the Lucky Sock C10 went to the track last weekend to make some passes in the truck to get his comfort level back up and to make his first passes ever on a set of slicks. He was there for 4 hours, ended up not making any passes and taking his wife to Taco Bell. Said he had an O2 sensor fail. She drives home, gets the sensor, comes back. He replaces it. He gets in line, is in line for an hour and a half. The guy in front of him rolls his Camaro. Brady said, I backed out and was like, I'm going home. I'm not even going to try it. He went back to the track on Wednesday night of this week and made some solid hits. Out of the gate, the truck went 1140s on 15 pounds. When he won the hot rod class for 2021 race week, it was on 19 pounds and ran, it ran 1080s during the week, or average 1080s for the week, but on weight, on 19 pounds compared to 15. So he said he's pulling his bitch mittens off for race week and he's going to turn it up. He said they fixed a few things while they were working on the truck, so it should be faster for 2022 race week. He said the first night at the track, they were asked, hey, is that the truck from Norwich? 8 times. Now, if you don't remember, that's the event he was at where the car was stuck at full throttle and ran into his car, flipping over, or ran in his truck, flipping over on the back. He has since made stickers that are hashtag Stepside Saves Lives because he feels if the truck had not been there, obviously the car would have hurt several people as it careened down the road with the throttle stuck wide open. He won the hot rod class in 2021 and sounds like he intends to do it again for 2022. And another stepside truck that was built specifically for drag and drive, and our buddies at Sweet Patina are going to like because the patina on this truck is perfect, is Eric Wilson. And you'll remember him. He actually sat down with us earlier, which I'm going to post that interview later. He has a 54 International truck that his great grandfather purchased brand new. Truck rides on a 4-wheel drive 2000 Silverado frame that they cut, I think he said 16 inches out of to fit. It's a turbo LS simple deal, 69 millimeter turbo on a stock 5.3 4L80 setup. He does launch in 4-wheel drive, so it's a huge plus for the truck. The truck's been has had a best average of 12:09.86 at Rocky Mountain Race Week 2021. The truck's actually ran 1170s. He daily drives this truck. It was built by him and his dad and his brother, and he has attended every Rocky Mountain event our Rocky Mountain Race Week event that has been put on, all of the RMRWers and the Race Week events. My favorite story of Eric's is he changed for 2021 on Race Week. Him, Rich Guido, and Bill Armstrong and a few other people actually changed a rod and piston on the side of the road in just under 3 hours. I love that story. That's actually what the interview is about. It's amazing. He actually had to completely disassemble the front suspension or the front drive axle, pull the pan. While he was doing that, the guys were getting the heads off. They were actually they used toothpaste to reseat the valve. It's a great story. You'll have to listen to it when you have a few minutes. It's right about an hour long. He had to get the truck repaired on the side of the road. Well, he had to get the truck repaired during that event because he had driven it from Colorado and none of his family had come out. So he would have had no way to get the truck home because he was here by himself. For Race Week 2022, Eric did say he is most likely bringing his Cadillac STSV. So we'll have another story to tell you once we meet up with him on the event. And this week's product showcase is Sweet Patina's Blackout Rust Preventative Coating. This direct-to-metal coating doesn't require any primer and can be sprayed, brushed, or rolled on. This underbody coating is formulated to stop corrosion. The coating dries to a flexible, rock-hard finish that will not crack, chip, flake, or peel. Order yours at the link in the description. I want to thank Randy at Lowbuck LS for giving me the chance to sit on the other side of the seat there and actually talk about what we're doing here at Drag and Drive Addiction and what we have going on at Narcoleptic Customs. This is a short segment from the 2-hour interview that I had with Randy. So if you'd like to, I'll put the link for the full interview in the description. Guys, I feel like there was a ton of good information in that, a lot of backstory for what we do and why I do it. And I hope you enjoyed as much as I enjoyed being with him. List.
Yeah, cool. Well, let's talk about that. Your list that you've put together. Tell us, like you're basically tracking all the statistics of all the drivers in the drag and drive events and kind of ranking them. Can you explain that a little more to us?
What people don't know is I'm a nerd. So I get really excited about the differences in how. All right. I get really excited in a driver's progress. Okay. How does Cletus, what did Cletus McFarland run in 2017? What did he run in 2018? What was his average? What did he drive? How has he gotten there? Because it allows so many stories along with that. Because until Sick the Mag, nobody was really telling drag and drive stories. Nobody there's so many people that cover NHRA drag racing that nobody even thought, drag and drive, that's nothing. That's nobody cool as in that. And here's Tom Bailey running 250 miles an hour in a car he drove 1,000 miles. It's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
But the lists are there. My end goal is to be, I want us to be where people go to find historical data. Okay. So I have and I'm going to say this, and I want people to understand what it takes to put this together. I have hundreds and hundreds of hours in gathering every drag and drive event since Hot Rod Drag Week 2005. I have every average for every person that's ever competed in a drag and drive event that has data available. Now we've taken it to the next level by including, we have 2 tiers. We're going to end up having 3 tiers of drag and drive events. So you'll have 1 tier of national level events, which is Sick Week, Midwest Drags, Rocky Mountain Race Week, and then Race Week, which is 2.0, and then Hot Rod Drag Week. So those are national level events. We'll end up with another one later in the year, not later this year, but I think later next year or the year after. So that'll give us 6 major events. As time goes on, it'll get harder and harder to get into those events.
Right.
So you have the next level of regional events, which is what's happening now. The explosion that we're seeing is in those events. So you have like King of the Open Road, which is put on by Jared Holt of Cruising, Oklahoma. A regional event is a 2 or 3 day event that typically in that you're going to run 100 miles a day, 200 miles maybe, something like that. It's very easy. Starts on Friday, ends on Sunday. As a regional guy, like I'm going to run over to the one Oklahoma City. There's guys in the Carolinas that are hosting 2 right now. For November, Devin Vanderhoof, who has a super fast Fox body, but he's 8th mile, right? So a lot of 8th mile regional stuff I think we're going to get into. Carolina Drag Cruise, that will take 100 or 200 cars for 2023, and Devin's event already takes 100 for 2022, so it'll take 150 or 200 for 2023. So that's the explosion. That's another 7 or 8 events right now that have happened in 2022. And once folks begin, we're not even in the growth of this yet. I mean, really at all.
I'll be honest with you. You can't really talk on the car when you're going down the highway.
All right, guys, I hope you are as excited as I am. Now, here's the thing nobody knows is I've been stalking you for the last month and a half while you've gotten this car ready for Miles of Mayhem. Now, you've made the whole trip. Why don't you introduce yourself, and then kind of give us a quick recap of the build?
Sure. Thanks, Micah. I think it's the first time I've ever been stalked in my life. But I'll give that to you. So the build, the whole deal was I'm a casual racer, if you will, for many years. Had many cars come and go, but as you know, with family and homes and everything else, it's a balancing act. But the one car I had always kept and hung on to was a 1955 Dodge that I bought in the 80s with my dad, and it was kind of a father-son project. And I drove that car to my college graduation. We got married in the car, and the kids both took it to their high school grads. And it was a very nice, very original car. It only ever had one repaint, and the seats had been recovered, and that was about it. Had the little Hemi engine in it, and it was cool, but it was boring as hell to drive. About 7 years ago now, I got the itch, so I pulled the Hemi out and I did a 440 transplant into the car, and it was actually the same engine I have in this car now, and that made it a lot more fun to drive. And I started racing it, but then I realized this car was way too nice for me to be doing this with. I was twisting the car up and stuff, so I ended up putting a stock 440 in it, kept this one, and sold the car. And about the same time, I had raced a couple of times with Gasser class with the Langley Loafers at the Old Time Drags in Mission. And I had I really wanted to build a Gasser. So this car came along. I'd actually seen this car sitting beside the highway down near my mom and dad's house, south of Penticton, BC, for several years. It sat there with a for sale sign on the window, and it kind of looked just like crap sitting beside the road. And so I went and saw the guy. I actually ended up buying the car for not a lot of money, but somebody had started hot rodding the car probably 30 or 40 years ago, and they'd cut the floors out and put a flat firewall in. Did a couple of things to it. Frenched one headlight, not the other. Frenched the taillights, and so that's kind of how it sat. So I drug it home, and then a straight axle out of a 52 GMC came along my way, and I already had a Dana 60 that I was intending to narrow. And things just started snowballing and coming together. So the car, as it sits now, has the 440 in it with the 727 that I built here in the garage with the trans brake. Dana 60 I built here in the garage. Homemade ladder bars. Everything was done right here. Wired from scratch. So over the last 2 years, I've been building the car. And then as about a year ago, right around this time of year, and I was surfing YouTube, and I saw this Miles of Mayhem. And I had been following Drag Week for a couple of years, some of the Drag Weeks in the States, and I thought, man, that's cool. I then became a goal to have the car finished for Miles of Mayhem. So come February, we applied, got in on the first day when they had it open for registration. And then I started, I actually kind of lost sleep a couple nights. I'm like, what have I got myself into? I've got this old piece of junk in the garage that I've put together all on my own. And I only ever drove it on the road about 200 kilometers. Before Miles of Mayhem came up, worked back a few times and around the valley here a couple times, and off we went. At the end of the day, it turned out really good. We had just an absolute blast.
It's a fun car. It looks super cool. Taking it 120 miles, 200 kilometers, and then now you guys took off on 1,000 miles, but your son flew in, and you and him both tackled Miles of Mayhem.
That's correct,
How exciting was that?
Oh, it was awesome. Our son lives in Toronto, right? So at the other end of the country, and we see them once or twice a year. But we honestly, the more time you can spend with the kids, the better, and especially doing something like this, right? Bonding.
Yep.
And so it's just awesome to have him come out, and it was just a really good time. All the guys at Miles of Mayhem, there was a real camaraderie with guys, hanging out in the hotel parking lot every night and having a couple of drinks and sharing stories, and it was just so much fun.
As an adult male myself, my dad and I went on a hot rod power tour like 2013 with my brother, and that was the only time we had ever spent that much time together as adults. And I would think it was the same thing for you and your son. Do you guys take trips together, or is that the first time you've done that?
Yeah, probably the first time that it's been just him and I for that kind of length of time, and forever. Yeah, we do family trips and stuff together, but people are going different directions and doing different things. But this way, we were stuck in the car, and it was really good. I'll be honest with you, you can't really talk in the car when you're going down the highway. So it's hand signals and stuff, but it doesn't matter. We're hanging out together and having fun.
That's right. That's one thing that people don't get. I always talk about day 3 is hardest on your body. Day 4 is hardest on the car. And especially in a loud car, because you don't have your mental capacity isn't there anymore, because you've just listened to for 800 miles.
You know what it reminded me of? I'm a helicopter mechanic. I've been in aviation my whole life. It reminded me of flying cross country in an old World War II era airplane with a radial engine on it, just the exhaust noise, and all you're doing is watching the gauges and planning your next fuel stop.
That's exactly right. Well, why don't you tell us a couple stories from the road?
Sure. Well, one of the things that happened right on, the first day we had got the car unloaded. We were there for the testing tune, and the next day, which was the actual first day of Miles of Mayhem, my wife had now about an hour prior to this taken off and headed back, because she was taking the truck and going off to visit some friends and family in other parts of Alberta. So it was just us there, and we're ready to start making our first passes. And I, had warmed the car up. I look and all I see is dripping water under the front of the car. And one of my nightmares had been that the car overheating or having to change the rad, because the rad is really kind of sandwiched in the front of the car. It's all very tight. And I look under, and sure as shit, there's water dripping out of the bottom of the rad. Like, it was like my worst nightmare. And I had to walk away for a minute and kind of shake my head. Then I came back and started looking around, and realized that what it was is that, it was all new rad hoses and everything, and the hose clamps had settled in. The upper rad hose was just a little bit loose, just enough for a little trickle of water to come down. So went over and tightened up all the rubber hoses, and everything was good after that.
It's amazing how that happened, right?
Yeah. Totally.
Now, any gas issues or anything like that? You guys run out of gas? You have to save anybody?
Well, we didn't have to save anybody. I had no idea. It's got a 16-gallon fuel cell in it, and I had no idea how far that was going to take us. So we carried 2 5-gallon jugs as well of fuel. And the very first day, we headed out of Medicine Hat, and I had to keep it down about 50 miles an hour, because it was the hottest day, and otherwise the temperature would you couldn't control it.
Oh yeah.
We drove for about 2 hours and pulled over, and the cell was just about empty. So I thought, okay, that's great. Now I kind of know the range of the cell. We switched drivers at the same time, but by now it had cooled down. And my son's driving, and man, it's louder in here now. And I look over, and well, he's got it buzzing up at 3,500 RPM. He's doing 65, 70 miles an hour. I thought, oh, okay, well, the temperature's fine now. Let him go.
Yeah.
And then about an hour and a half in, the car quits. We're out of fuel. Obviously,
That's
using a little more at that speed. But we had spare in the trunk. So, and the funny thing was, we were about 1 kilometer from the gas station we were going to stop at.
Oh, yep. That's the way it works, man. Every time you get that, well, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Oh, we're out of fuel. That's awesome. So by the end of the week, I'm sure you guys had it figured out. One thing that is another big part of a loud car is the drone, and then that generally puts the passenger to sleep. Did you have any navigator issues while you guys were running around?
No, not really. No, we slept very well at the hotels, and we weren't really that dead tired. No, neither one of us fell asleep. Actually, my son, one day he did have a nap, but he told me, Dad, I'm kind of tired. I'm going to try to nap. And I looked over, and next thing you know, he's sleeping. So
yeah, that's funny. That's the way it works all the time. Now, I'm a horrible car sleeper, so I'll go to sleep anytime I get still. So that's the way I work. So when I end up riding with you at some point in the future, you just know that. Okay, no any tools you wish you would have brought that you didn't?
No, I pretty much packed everything I needed, but on the first day, my brother was there as well, as you know, and they never made it past the first day. They had car issues, but I've got different lug nuts for the slicks and the street tires and different size sockets. So my 3/4 inch socket that I need for putting the slicks on, my brother had some lug nut issues, and so I left it with him, thinking he's going to catch up with us on that night. Well, he never did. He never made it. So the whole time I was chasing guys around. Everybody was very happy. Hey, can I borrow a 3/4 socket from you? I got to put my slicks back on or take them off now. And so that was kind of interesting. And then on the second last day, I borrowed one from a guy, and I said, hey, do you mind if I keep it? I'll give it back to you later on today. And then he took off out of that drag strip. And then I saw him the next day at the final strip and said, hey, I'll bring your socket back. And then the next thing I knew, he was done and gone.
He was gone, loaded up.
So I out of there. Messaged him on Facebook, and he said, I'll just keep it. So.
Hey, that's perfect, man. Now you got to like engrave something like, Miles of Mayhem 2022. That way you'll always remember that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, to kind of wrap up what we got here, what will you change for 2023? Because I would imagine you're going to come back.
Oh, we're absolutely going to try to. Yep. I got a few things on my list. Number one, the car's got vacuum operated wipers, and they worked great when I tested them, but I didn't have the wiper blades on at the time. And as soon as you put wiper blades on, there's so much drag, they don't run. So I was really hoping we're not going to hit rain, because I was also trying to find some rain X, and I couldn't find any anymore.
Oh, no.
We had no rain, so that's good. So for next year, it's going to have an electric wiper motor in it. I'd like to have a better fuel cell with a fuel gauge.
Yeah.
What other things? Maybe some more sound deadening, a little more interior, maybe some carpet and stuff in the car. A few other things like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's funny. Once people get their car built, a lot of people don't keep it around. They sell it or whatever, or they move on to the next project. But I think that's the funnest part, is to get the car done. And then you can start adding all that stuff. It's nothing to take a couple weekends and put carpet and sound deadening in it. So.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I'll do some more things over it. I'm not ready to get rid of this car just yet. We got some more adventures ahead of us, I think.
That's exactly it. Well, David, thank you so much for spending time with us, man. If you ever make it to the States, come say hi. And then, obviously, I'm going to work all I can to get to Miles of Mayhem 2023. It looked like you guys were having an absolute blast.
Yeah, it was a great time for sure. Thanks very much, Mike. I appreciate it.
All right. Hey, I hope you have enjoyed this episode. I enjoyed getting all of the research done and all of the content gathered for you. I hope you enjoyed the conversation with David Siddon. And obviously, I hope you go and listen to the full interview with Lowbuck LS and listen to a little bit of my story. It gives me an opportunity to kind of maybe bring some more excitement to what we're doing and kind of some backstory to me. So, hey, I want to say thank you for watching the entire video. If you haven't done it yet, please like the video and subscribe to the channel to keep up with everything we have coming.